To be honest with yourself begins with self-awareness, the foundation of understanding your inner world and the reality you navigate daily. Self-awareness is not simply acknowledging your likes, dislikes, or preferences. It involves a deep dive into the core of who you are, your beliefs, your values, and the motivations that drive your actions. It demands a willingness to confront the truth about yourself, even when that truth may be uncomfortable, messy, or contradict the image you've presented to the world. Without self-awareness, you operate on autopilot, reacting to situations based on ingrained patterns rather than making intentional decisions rooted in your authentic self. When you become self-aware, you recognize your emotions in the moment and understand how they influence your behavior. For instance, you might notice that a sense of irritation towards someone stems not from their actions, but from unresolved frustration within yourself. This realization helps you respond rather than react, shifting the focus inward and allowing space for personal accountability. Self-awareness empowers you to identify recurring themes in your life, the moments where you fall into the same traps or make the same mistakes, providing the clarity needed to break those cycles. Achieving self-awareness is an ongoing process. It's not a destination you reach, but a journey of continuous learning. It requires self-reflection, which can take many forms, such as journaling, meditation, or simply setting aside time to think about your actions and decisions. When you reflect on your day, ask yourself probing questions. Why did I react that way? What drove my decision in that situation? Am I being true to myself? Or am I influenced by external pressures? This practice helps uncover the layers of your thoughts and emotions, gradually painting a clearer picture of who you are and why you act the way you do. It's essential to understand that self-awareness often involves uncovering parts of yourself that you've buried or avoided. These could be fears you haven't confronted, mistakes you haven't owned up to, or dreams you've dismissed as unrealistic. Facing these truths requires courage, as it often means dismantling the protective walls you've built to shield yourself from pain or disappointment. Yet it's within this vulnerability that you find the seeds of transformation. Only by acknowledging these hidden aspects can you begin to heal, grow, and move forward authentically. Another critical aspect of self-awareness is understanding your strengths and limitations. While it's vital to embrace your capabilities, it's equally important to recognize where you fall short and where improvement is needed. This honest assessment allows you to set realistic goals and boundaries, ensuring that your aspirations align with your abilities and your personal truth. It prevents you from overextending yourself to meet unrealistic expectations, or conversely, underestimating your potential out of fear or self-doubt. Self-awareness also enhances your relationships. When you understand your own needs, triggers, and communication styles, you can engage with others more effectively and authentically. You're less likely to project your insecurities onto others or blame them for your challenges. Instead, you approach relationships with empathy and openness, fostering deeper connections built on mutual understanding and respect. This level of self-awareness can transform not only how you view yourself, but also how you interact with the world around you. The journey to self-awareness can be both enlightening and challenging, as it often requires confronting truths that may be difficult to accept. For instance, you might realize that certain habits or beliefs you've held on to are no longer serving you, or that you've been avoiding accountability for choices that led to unfavorable outcomes. These realizations can be uncomfortable, but they're also liberating. They give you the power to take control of your narrative and make conscious decisions that align with your values and aspirations. Cultivating self-awareness also involves being mindful of how external factors influence your thoughts and behaviors. Society, culture, and relationships all shape your worldview, often in ways you're not consciously aware of. By questioning these influences, you can distinguish between what truly resonates with you and what you've adopted out of conformity or obligation. This discernment allows you to shed the expectations of others and focus on what genuinely matters to you, paving the way for a more authentic and fulfilling life. Building self-awareness is not without its obstacles. It requires a level of introspection that can be uncomfortable and even intimidating at times. You may encounter resistance from within, as confronting certain truths about yourself can feel overwhelming. However, it's important to approach this process with compassion and patience. Remind yourself that self-awareness is not about perfection, but about progress. Each step you take toward understanding yourself better is a step toward greater clarity, authenticity, and self-empowerment. In your quest for self-awareness, seek feedback from trusted friends, mentors, or loved ones who can provide valuable insights into how your actions and behaviors are perceived. Sometimes an external perspective can shed light on blind spots that you may not have recognized on your own. However, it's essential to approach this feedback with an open mind and a discerning heart, filtering out what is constructive from what may not align with your truth. Self-awareness also involves a commitment to honesty and accountability. It's not enough to recognize your thoughts and emotions, you must also take ownership of them. This means acknowledging when you've made a mistake, hurt someone, or strayed from your values. It's about accepting responsibility for your actions and using those moments as opportunities for growth rather than dwelling in guilt or defensiveness. Accountability is a crucial component of self-awareness, as it reinforces the connection between your inner world and your external actions. Ultimately, self-awareness is the foundation upon which personal growth and authenticity are built. It provides the clarity needed to navigate life's complexities, the courage to face your truths, and the wisdom to align your actions with your values. It is a journey that requires dedication, introspection, and a willingness to embrace both your strengths and vulnerabilities. Through self-awareness, you unlock the potential to live a life that is not only true to yourself, but also deeply fulfilling and impactful. To be honest with yourself requires the courage to embrace vulnerability, the willingness to confront your true feelings, and the capacity to let go of facades that no longer serve you. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it is the birthplace of authenticity and strength. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you create space to connect with your inner self in a way that transcends societal expectations and external judgments. It is in this space that you can begin to truly understand your desires, fears, and aspirations, free from the noise of the outside world. Honesty with yourself starts with acknowledging the emotions you experience daily. Often we suppress or ignore feelings we consider inconvenient or uncomfortable. For instance, you might brush off sadness by labeling it as unimportant or disguise frustration with a forced smile. This tendency to mask emotions can create a disconnect between who you are and who you appear to be. Allowing yourself to sit with these emotions, however, and naming them without judgment, fosters a deeper connection with your inner world. By admitting that you feel disappointed, scared, or overwhelmed, you take the first step toward addressing and understanding those emotions. One of the most significant barriers to being honest with yourself is the fear of what you might uncover. You might worry that confronting your true feelings will force you to reevaluate relationships, career paths, or life choices. This fear often stems from a desire to maintain a sense of stability, even if that stability is built on untruths. However, the discomfort of confronting the truth is temporary, whereas living in denial perpetuates a cycle of dissatisfaction and self-doubt. By facing your fears head-on, you can break free from the cycle and begin to create a life that aligns with your authentic self. Being honest with yourself also requires a willingness to question the narratives you've internalized. These narratives might include beliefs about your worth, your capabilities, or your role in the world. Perhaps you've told yourself that you're not good enough to pursue a dream, or that your happiness depends on external validation. These stories, while often deeply ingrained, are not absolute truths. They are interpretations shaped by past experiences, societal conditioning, and self-doubt. Challenging these narratives and replacing them with more empowering beliefs is a critical aspect of self-honesty. Another crucial component of self-honesty is recognizing the gap between your actions and your values. Are you living in alignment with what truly matters to you, or are you prioritizing what others expect of you? For instance, you might value creativity but find yourself stuck in a job that stifles your imagination. Or you might prioritize relationships but struggle to make time for the people who matter most to you. Identifying these discrepancies allows you to make intentional changes that bring your life into greater harmony with your core values. Self-honesty also involves letting go of the need for perfection. Often we avoid being truthful with ourselves because we fear it will highlight our flaws or failures. However, perfection is an unattainable standard that only serves to fuel self-criticism and insecurity. Embracing your imperfections as part of your humanity allows you to approach yourself with compassion rather than judgment. It is through this lens of self-compassion that you can begin to see your mistakes not as defining moments, but as opportunities for growth and learning. It's a significant aspect of being honest with yourself is setting boundaries that protect your well-being and reflect your truth. This might mean saying no to commitments that drain your energy or stepping away from relationships that no longer serve you. Setting boundaries is not about being selfish. It is about honoring your needs and creating the space to show up authentically in all areas of your life. When you establish boundaries based on self-honesty, you cultivate an environment that supports your growth and allows you to thrive. Another layer of self-honesty is the recognition of your potential. It is easy to downplay your strengths and capabilities out of fear of failure or a desire to avoid standing out. However, denying your potential does a disservice not only to yourself, but also to those who could benefit from your unique gifts and contributions. By acknowledging your strengths and embracing your aspirations, you take a step toward living a life of purpose and fulfillment. To be honest with yourself also means accepting responsibility for your choices and their consequences. It is tempting to place blame on external factors when things go wrong, but true self-honesty requires you to own your role in your circumstances. This does not mean being overly critical or harsh on yourself. Rather, it means recognizing where you have agency and using that awareness to make more intentional decisions moving forward. Taking responsibility empowers you to reclaim control over your life and create the outcomes you desire. The process of being honest with yourself is deeply personal and unique to each individual. What honesty looks like for you may differ from what it looks like for someone else. That is okay. The key is to approach this journey with an open mind and a commitment to uncovering your truth. This may involve seeking guidance from trusted friends, mentors, or therapists who can provide valuable perspectives and support as you navigate this process. Ultimately, being honest with yourself is an act of liberation. It frees you from the constraints of societal expectations, the weight of untruths, and the fear of judgment. It allows you to live a life that is not only authentic, but also deeply meaningful and aligned with your values. Through self-honesty, you gain the clarity and confidence to make choices that reflect who you truly are, fostering a sense of inner peace and fulfillment that no external validation can replicate. Acknowledging your emotions and experiences without judgment is a cornerstone of being honest with yourself. This practice requires not only awareness, but also a level of humility and self-compassion. Too often, people dismiss their feelings or downplay their significance, thinking it's a sign of strength to ignore emotional discomfort. However, this dismissal can create internal dissonance, as unacknowledged emotions don't simply disappear, they linger, often influencing decisions and behaviors in subtle but powerful ways. By choosing to confront your emotions head-on, you take an essential step toward understanding yourself on a deeper level. One of the most significant challenges in this area is learning to differentiate between emotions and thoughts. Emotions are instinctive responses, often rooted in past experiences or unmet needs, whereas thoughts are the narratives we create to make sense of those emotions. For example, you might feel sadness because of a perceived rejection, and your thoughts might spin this into a story about your inadequacy or unworthiness. In reality, the emotion itself is not harmful. It is your interpretation of it that shapes your response. By separating the raw emotion from the story attached to it, you can better address the underlying issue without getting lost in self-defeating narratives. Honoring your emotions also means allowing yourself to feel them fully, even when they are uncomfortable. Society often places a premium on stoicism or appearing unaffected by challenges, particularly for certain groups or roles. However, denying your feelings doesn't make them less real. It simply pushes them beneath the surface, where they may manifest as anxiety, stress, or even physical ailments. Giving yourself permission to cry, express frustration, or acknowledge fear is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your humanity. It shows that you are willing to face life's ups and downs authentically rather than pretending everything is okay when it isn't. Another vital aspect of acknowledging emotions is identifying their triggers. Every feeling has a source, whether it's rooted in a present situation, a past experience, or a future worry. Taking the time to trace your emotions back to their origins can provide valuable insights into your patterns and vulnerabilities. For example, if you find yourself consistently feeling anxious in social settings, it may stem from past experiences of exclusion or criticism. Recognizing this pattern enables you to approach these situations with greater self-awareness and compassion, potentially reframing them in a way that feels less threatening. Understanding your emotions is only one part of the equation. It's equally important to express them in a healthy and constructive manner. Bottling up your feelings can lead to emotional outbursts or passive-aggressive behavior, neither of which serves your relationships or well-being. On the other hand, expressing your emotions authentically can deepen your connections with others and reinforce your sense of self-worth. This might involve sharing your thoughts with a trusted friend, writing in a journal, or finding a creative outlet such as painting or music to channel your emotions. It's also worth noting that not all emotions are easily understood or labeled. Sometimes you might experience a sense of unease or discomfort without being able to pinpoint its cause. In these moments, patience is key. Rushing to label or resolve the emotion can lead to oversimplifications or misunderstandings. Instead, allow yourself to sit with the feeling, observing it without judgment or the need to act on it immediately. Over time, its meaning may become clearer, or it may simply pass, leaving you with a greater capacity for emotional resilience. Another layer of this process involves recognizing the role of cultural and societal influences on how you perceive and express emotions. For instance, certain cultures may stigmatize vulnerability, labeling it as a sign of weakness, while others may encourage emotional openness. Understanding these influences can help you discern which aspects of your emotional responses are truly your own and which have been shaped by external expectations. This awareness can empower you to make choices that align more closely with your authentic self, rather than conforming to societal norms. Additionally, being honest about your emotions involves accepting that they are not permanent. Feelings are inherently transient, shifting and evolving over time. What feels overwhelming today may seem insignificant tomorrow. This impermanence can be both comforting and challenging. It reminds you that difficult emotions will pass, but it also requires you to remain present and attentive to the lessons they offer in the moment. By embracing the fluid nature of emotions, you can approach them with greater curiosity and less fear, seeing them as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles. A key part of acknowledging emotions is also recognizing the impact they have on your relationships. Unspoken feelings can create distance and misunderstandings, while open communication fosters trust and intimacy. Being honest with yourself about how you feel allows you to show up authentically in your interactions with others. For instance, if you're feeling hurt or disappointed, acknowledging these feelings internally can help you express them constructively to someone else rather than letting them fester or distort your behavior. Finally, it's important to celebrate the progress you make in this journey, no matter how small. Acknowledging your emotions can be difficult, particularly if you've spent years suppressing or ignoring them. Each step you take toward greater self-awareness is a victory worth recognizing. This might involve reflecting on moments when you successfully named and addressed a difficult emotion, or noticing how your increased self-honesty has positively impacted your relationships and decision-making. By celebrating these milestones, you reinforce the importance of this practice and motivate yourself to continue growing. Building trust with yourself is an essential aspect of personal growth and emotional well-being. It's a process that requires consistency, self-awareness, and an ongoing commitment to treating yourself with the same respect and honesty you would offer a close friend. When you trust yourself, you are better equipped to navigate challenges, make decisions confidently, and maintain a sense of stability in the face of uncertainty. This trust is not something that comes automatically. It's cultivated through deliberate choices and actions that reinforce your belief in your own integrity and abilities. One of the most important steps in building trust with yourself is following through on your commitments, no matter how small they may seem. When you set a goal or make a promise to yourself and then fail to honor it, you erode your internal sense of reliability. For example, if you decide to wake up earlier to exercise but repeatedly hit the snooze button, instead you send a message to yourself that your plans and priorities are not worth respecting. Over time, this pattern can lead to self-doubt and frustration. On the other hand, even small victories such as sticking to a single daily habit can strengthen your self-trust, as they prove to you that you are capable of discipline and follow through. Equally important is learning to make decisions that align with your values and intuition, rather than solely relying on external validation or societal expectations. Many people struggle with self-trust because they are accustomed to seeking approval from others or deferring to outside opinions. While feedback can be valuable, relying on it too heavily can cause you to lose touch with your own instincts and priorities. Building trust with yourself means cultivating the courage to make choices that feel authentic to you, even if they are not universally understood or accepted. It involves listening to your inner voice and recognizing that you are the ultimate authority on your own life. Another critical aspect of self-trust is learning to handle mistakes and setbacks with grace. No one is perfect, and expecting yourself to be infallible will only lead to disappointment and self-criticism. Trusting yourself doesn't mean believing you'll never fail. It means believing that you can recover and learn from failure when it happens. This requires a mindset shift, viewing mistakes not as evidence of inadequacy, but as opportunities for growth. When you approach challenges with this perspective, you reinforce your resilience and demonstrate to yourself that you are capable of navigating life's ups and downs without losing faith in your abilities. An often overlooked element of self-trust is the importance of setting boundaries, both with others and with yourself. This includes knowing when to say no to requests or opportunities that don't align with your priorities and learning to recognize when you're overextending yourself. Trusting yourself means honoring your limits and respecting your need for rest and balance. It also involves holding yourself accountable for behaviors or patterns that may be undermining your well-being, such as procrastination, negative self-talk, or unhealthy coping mechanisms. By setting and enforcing boundaries, you create a structure that supports your personal and emotional integrity. Developing trust with yourself also requires cultivating a sense of self-compassion. Many people are their own harshest critics, quick to judge themselves for perceived flaws or shortcomings. This internal criticism can be a significant barrier to self-trust, as it fosters feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. To counteract this, practice treating yourself with kindness and understanding, particularly during difficult times. Remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes and faces challenges, and that your worth is not defined by your successes or failures. When you approach yourself with empathy, you create an internal environment where trust can flourish. Another key factor in building self-trust is learning to embrace uncertainty and take calculated risks. Life is inherently unpredictable, and there will always be situations where you don't have all the answers. Trusting yourself means having the confidence to step into the unknown, trusting that you have the skills, knowledge, and resilience to adapt and thrive. This doesn't mean acting recklessly, rather. It involves weighing your options thoughtfully and then moving forward with the belief that you can handle whatever comes next. Each time you take a risk and succeed or learn from failure, you strengthen your trust in your ability to navigate uncertainty. A practical way to reinforce self-trust is through reflective practices such as journaling or meditation. These activities create space for you to connect with your thoughts and feelings, helping you gain clarity about your values, goals, and priorities. Writing down your experiences and emotions can also provide a record of your progress, allowing you to look back and see how far you've come. Similarly, meditation encourages mindfulness and self-awareness, teaching you to observe your inner world without judgment. Both practices can help you develop a deeper understanding of yourself, which is essential for building trust. It's also important to celebrate your achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Acknowledging your successes reinforces your belief in your abilities and creates a positive feedback loop that encourages further growth. This doesn't mean you need to achieve perfection or meet every goal to trust yourself. It's about recognizing the effort and progress you've made along the way. Celebrating your wins. Whether it's completing a challenging project or simply showing up for yourself consistently, reminds you that you are capable and deserving of self-trust. Lastly, building trust with yourself is an ongoing journey that requires patience and persistence. It's not something that happens overnight, and there will likely be times when you falter or doubt yourself. The key is to remain committed to the process, treating each day as an opportunity to deepen your connection with yourself. Over time, these small, consistent efforts will add up, creating a strong foundation of self-trust that empowers you to live authentically and confidently. Being honest with yourself requires a commitment to facing your inner truths without avoidance or distortion. It involves recognizing and accepting your emotions, strengths, weaknesses, and desires, even when they may be uncomfortable or challenging to confront. This form of honesty is a foundation for personal growth and authenticity, as it allows you to live in alignment with your true self, rather than a facade crafted to meet external expectations. The process begins with the willingness to acknowledge your vulnerabilities, as they are often the areas where growth and transformation occur. One of the most significant aspects of being honest with yourself is the ability to recognize and accept your emotions as they arise. Many people suppress or deny their feelings out of fear of being judged or perceived as weak. However, emotions are a natural and essential part of the human experience. They provide valuable information about your needs, boundaries, and desires. When you allow yourself to fully experience and understand your emotions, you gain deeper insight into who you are and what truly matters to you. This self-awareness enables you to make decisions that are more authentic and fulfilling. Honesty with yourself also involves taking responsibility for your choices and actions. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming external circumstances or other people for your struggles or mistakes. While external factors do play a role, true personal empowerment comes from owning your part in any situation. When you accept responsibility for your life, you position yourself as the author of your own story rather than a victim of circumstance. This mindset shift not only fosters self-respect, but also empowers you to make changes and take steps toward the life you want. Another crucial element of self-honesty is identifying and challenging the limiting beliefs that may be holding you back. These beliefs often develop over time, influenced by societal norms, family expectations, or past experiences. For example, you may have internalized the idea that you're not smart enough to pursue a certain career or that you're unworthy of love. These thoughts, while powerful, are not facts. They are narratives that can be rewritten. Being honest with yourself means questioning these beliefs and examining whether they serve your highest good. It requires courage to confront and dismantle these mental barriers, but doing so opens the door to greater possibilities and self-fulfillment. Honesty with yourself also extends to your relationships and interactions with others. It's common to downplay your needs or compromise your values to maintain harmony or avoid conflict. However, when you prioritize pleasing others over being true to yourself, you create a disconnect between your inner world and external actions. This can lead to feelings of resentment, frustration, and a lack of authenticity in your relationships. By being honest about your needs, boundaries, and feelings, you cultivate healthier, more genuine connections. This doesn't mean being harsh or unkind. It's about expressing yourself in a way that respects both your truth and the perspectives of others. Another critical aspect of self-honesty is acknowledging when you are stuck in patterns of avoidance or procrastination. It's easy to justify putting off tasks or goals with excuses such as lack of time, fear of failure, or uncertainty about the outcome. However, these justifications often mask deeper issues such as self-doubt or fear of change. Being honest with yourself means examining the real reasons behind your actions or lack thereof and addressing them directly. This may involve confronting fears, seeking support, or taking small, consistent steps toward your goals. Each step you take reinforces your commitment to your growth and helps build momentum. Being honest with yourself also involves setting realistic expectations and goals. Many people set themselves up for disappointment by striving for perfection or attempting to achieve too much at once. While ambition is valuable, it's important to balance it with a sense of realism and self-compassion. When you set achievable goals that align with your values and priorities, you create a roadmap for success that feels both challenging and attainable. Honesty about your limitations and resources allows you to allocate your energy effectively and celebrate progress rather than fixating on shortcomings. Another dimension of self-honesty is acknowledging and celebrating your achievements. Many people have a tendency to downplay their successes or focus solely on their shortcomings. This critical inner voice can erode self-esteem and make it difficult to recognize your progress. By honestly acknowledging your accomplishments, no matter how small, you reinforce your belief in your abilities and create a positive cycle of motivation. This practice also helps you build resilience, as it reminds you of your capacity to overcome challenges and achieve your goals. Honesty with yourself also involves being open to feedback and constructive criticism from others. While it's important to trust your intuition, external perspectives can provide valuable insights that you may not have considered. Being receptive to feedback doesn't mean blindly accepting it. Rather, it means thoughtfully evaluating whether it aligns with your values and goals. This process requires humility and a willingness to learn, as well as the discernment to distinguish between helpful advice and unproductive criticism. Finally, being honest with yourself requires patience and persistence. It's not a one-time effort, but an ongoing practice that evolves as you grow and change. There will be moments when self-honesty feels uncomfortable, or even painful. But these moments are often where the greatest growth occurs. By committing to this practice, you create a foundation of trust and authenticity, that empowers you to navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and confidence. Self-honesty, perhaps one of the most challenging but rewarding practices, is an ongoing journey that demands introspection, accountability, and openness to change. To truly live authentically, it's essential to embrace the uncomfortable truths about yourself, the ones you may have buried, denied, or avoided. These truths are often linked to deeper emotions, unresolved conflicts, or past experiences that shape the way you see yourself and the world around you. Being honest with yourself about these aspects allows you to heal, grow, and evolve in ways that superficial self-awareness cannot achieve. It's about acknowledging both the light and dark parts of your personality and your life's journey. True self-honesty does not seek perfection, but rather understanding, compassion, and acceptance. One of the key aspects of self-honesty is the courage to face your fears and insecurities. For many people, there are aspects of themselves they feel ashamed of, whether it's something about their past, an unhealed wound, or a fear of failure. These fears often manifest as self-doubt, hesitation, or avoidance, keeping them stuck in a loop of inaction. Being honest with yourself means recognizing these fears for what they are: natural human emotions that, while uncomfortable, do not define you. Confronting them head-on, without allowing them to dictate your choices, requires immense bravery. It involves acknowledging that fear is not an enemy, but a signal that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. And only by moving through that fear can you truly grow. Similarly, part of being honest with yourself involves acknowledging the times you've fallen short or made mistakes, whether in your relationships, career, or personal endeavors. It's easy to dismiss failures as something to be ashamed of or to blame others for the outcomes that didn't go as planned. But true self-honesty requires taking responsibility for your part in every situation. Owning your mistakes doesn't mean self-criticism or guilt, rather, it means learning from those experiences. Each misstep is an opportunity for growth, a chance to recalibrate your approach, and ultimately a stepping stone toward achieving your goals. It's through this acceptance of imperfection that you develop resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks and continue moving forward with clarity and confidence. Equally important is the need for emotional honesty. Many people suppress their feelings because they fear judgment or because they think that vulnerability is a sign of weakness. However, being honest with yourself means acknowledging your emotions in their full spectrum, whether you're experiencing joy, sadness, anger, or fear. This emotional honesty allows you to process your feelings rather than bottle them up, leading to healthier emotional regulation and a more balanced mental state. It's important to remember that emotions are not inherently good or bad. They are signals that provide valuable insights into your needs, boundaries, and desires. When you can understand and articulate your emotions, you empower yourself to make choices that are in alignment with your true self, rather than reacting impulsively or repressing what's going on inside. Another layer of self-honesty is recognizing when you're living in alignment with your values and when you're not. Many people go through life without truly questioning whether their actions are reflective of their deepest beliefs and principles. You may be following a career path, staying in a relationship, or living in a way that no longer resonates with your authentic self. This misalignment can lead to feelings of frustration, dissatisfaction, or even depression. Self-honesty means taking a step back to ask yourself the tough questions. Am I living in a way that aligns with my core values? Am I pursuing goals that truly fulfill me? Or am I living to meet the expectations of others? By answering these questions with authenticity, you give yourself the permission to make changes that will bring you closer to the person you want to become. Part of self-honesty also includes recognizing and embracing your strengths. It's easy to focus on what you perceive as weaknesses and overlook the talents and qualities that make you unique. Many people downplay their strengths out of modesty or fear of appearing arrogant, but in doing so, they miss the opportunity to fully acknowledge their capabilities. Being honest with yourself means recognizing what you're good at, embracing those skills, and using them to your advantage. This is not about boasting or seeking validation from others, but about fostering a sense of self-worth that comes from knowing your value. Recognizing your strengths empowers you to take on challenges with confidence and assert your place in the world without feeling the need to shrink or apologize for your success. In addition to recognizing your strengths, self-honesty involves an ongoing process of self-reflection and growth. It requires checking in with yourself regularly to assess whether the life you're living aligns with your evolving sense of self. Self-honesty is not static, it's a dynamic, ever-changing process that requires you to be in tune with your needs, desires, and aspirations. As you grow, your values, goals, and perceptions will shift, and it's essential to stay in touch with these changes. This means being open to reevaluating your life choices and making adjustments as needed. It might mean letting go of relationships, career paths, or behaviors that no longer serve you, even if they were once part of your identity. Moreover, part of self-honesty is also allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as a weakness, but it is, in fact, one of the greatest strengths a person can possess. It's about being open to others, expressing your needs, and allowing yourself to be seen as you truly are, flaws, fears, and all. Embracing vulnerability requires the courage to be authentic, even when it feels risky or uncomfortable. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you create deeper connections with others and invite real love, support, and understanding into your life. Vulnerability fosters trust both with yourself and with others, and it's only through this trust that meaningful change and growth can take place. Being honest with yourself also means recognizing the importance of self-care. It's easy to neglect your own needs in the rush of everyday life, especially when you're focused on the needs of others or driven by external demands. However, self-care is not selfish, it's essential, and ensure that you have the energy and clarity to pursue your goals with vitality. Finally, being honest with yourself requires patience and compassion. It's not a process that happens overnight. You will make mistakes, encounter setbacks, and face moments of doubt. But through it all, it's essential to treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Self-honesty is not about harsh self-criticism, it's about recognizing your humanity and accepting yourself as a work in progress. By practicing self-compassion, you create an environment where growth, learning, and healing can take place.